Hey there, this is Sam Flegal again. I'm going to talk about my latest painting, Tyr's Promise. Now, if you saw the previous video, I start the same way where I'm taking my walnut alkyd medium and just running that over all the places where I'm going to start this base layer. Then when I start painting, I've mixed up a number of colors over to the side, and I'm going to start laying in the darks. This is a tip I got from an artist named Steve Ellis, which if you haven't checked out his stuff, you really should. He's a great artist, but he's got an excellent book on painting that I picked up when I was first getting started called Scream, Draw Classic Vampires, Werewolves, Zombies, Monsters, and More. It's a fun book, especially if you like monsters, fantasy art at all, but one of the principles he talks about is the importance of laying in the darks first. And I picked this up pretty early in my traditional painting techniques, and I suppose that would apply to digital as well. But the main thing is if you lay in those darks, it becomes easier to see how light the lights need to be. If you've seen any of my previous videos, you also know the importance of having a strong drawing underneath, and that also holds true. As I leave those white areas open, it's the drawing still showing through, which is more of a gray color as well. So it does let me pop in those really bright whites when I want to. I've also, the other thing I'm thinking of is the painting, I want it to transition from cool colors to warm colors. The left side being cool, the right side skewing warm. I sort of developed this up in the sky in the background as it transitions from those cool like Payne's gray over into a kind of a warm magenta color. And I'm thinking the same thing as I'm painting the wolf's fur. Those grays over on the left side are built using cool colors, and the right side is colors mixed warm. So we're talking, your browns mixed with white, some of those earth tones, but in general, just wanting to shift things to a warmer tone as I move over. I think it's important to start thinking about these things really as you're mixing the colors. So I'm doing some mixing on my palette over to the side, which of course you can't really see in this video, but most of it was pre-mixed. I thought through exactly what I wanted to put and where I wanted to put it, as I was starting. Now, all that said, I think it is important not to get too caught up in this stage in terms of laying in the perfect color. I think it's much more important to make decisions. My goal for this phase of the painting is to block in as much of the right color in the right spot as I can, but more important than that is just putting a color down, because once you put it down, you can see how it reacts to other colors as you begin to build the palette and the language of the painting. The color scheme starts to come out, and if you get too jittery and focused on just putting down the perfect color every time, then you'll stop making choices. And when you stop making choices, that's when your painting is going to stall out. It's going to become very frustrating. So oil is a very forgiving medium. Once it dries, you can cover it up. Being opaque, you're not beholden to every little thing that you do. It's actually, I think, one of the things that makes watercolors so scary, in my opinion, is if you go too dark, there's no coming back. But in oil, it's just great. You keep you can go dark, you can start dark, you can pull it light, you can go back and forth. But the main thing is make those choices, make those decisions. So now I'm moving beyond the wolf's fur, and I'm getting into the strands, the cord that binds Fenris. In the story, it talks about Fenris being bound 3 times. The first 2 failing. They trying various strong chains and other things, but eventually the gods get the dwarves to make a cord out of impossible things. It lists things like bird's spit and a cat's footprint or a cat's step. Basically, all these things that don't happen. Birds don't have saliva, and a cat's so stealthy that you'd never hear his foot pad. That sort of thing. And so for me, I just wanted to bring that in. That's why I have the strands of the cords heading out into the cosmos that he's literally held back by impossibility. And for that color scheme, I wanted it to stand out from the wolf, so that's why I went with the blue. But I also don't want to draw too much attention to it, because ultimately this painting is about Tyr and his promise and the sacrifice that he made. Next, I'm going to go in on the hand, and again you can see I start the same way, as just blocking in those dark colors and then coming back. I have taken a little break to mix a few new colors as I move into the hand. I want to bring some even brighter, fleshy, warm tones in to make the hand pop forward and stand out from some of those cool grays and warm grays. These are moving out of the realm of that muddy gray that's on the wolf and coming forward a little bit. I also want the Tyr rune that's in the hand that's floating there to seem to glow. Right now I'm going to leave that white, but the easiest way to make something glow is to surround it with dark. So I am making sure to leave some darker tones around the rune. Once again, I also want to stress the importance of reference. You can see I'm using a shot. That's my hand over there. I just went out in the backyard and shot a quick photo of my own hand. And so I'm not just attempting to do a hand out of my head. And obviously, I'm not a slave to the reference either. You know, I don't have a severed hand or a glowing rune. So I am taking liberties, but the reference still helps get me through. I think that's going to bring us close to the close for the end of this one. Once again, I hope you've enjoyed this video of my latest painting, Tyr's Promise. I'm Sam Flegal.